the flashlight revealed the shiny eyes and the long tail of a 150-pound cougar. It wasn't long before the area was packed with emergency vehicles and neighbors. Harley wasn't going to let that cougar out of the tree no matter what. This wasn't out in the backwoods. It was in a backyard in the middle of Vancouver at I-205 and Mill Plain.
So we're here in Vancouver, Washington, and we just live a couple blocks off of the 205 freeway. And it was like late April of last year, of 2013, and our dog was creating a ruckus at night. And we have a family of raccoons that like to tease him in the tree, so they'll go up the tree and kind of just hang out there, and he'll bark. So my husband thought that's what was happening, so he brought his flashlight out. It was about midnight. Harley's not a big barker unless he sees somebody coming onto the property or there's critters in the trees. Like I had said earlier, we have a set of raccoons that like to tease him. And so, you know, being in the middle of the night, my husband did go out to investigate. One, we don't allow him to bark all night long because it does disturb the neighbors. But if there was something in the tree that shouldn't be, or somebody prowling around that shouldn't be, you know, he wanted to make sure, and he brought his flashlight out to look to see what was bothering the dog. My husband had shined the light up in the tree, and it wasn't a raccoon, it was a 150-pound female cougar. And he was very, very surprised. He is a hunter, so seeing a cat wasn't a surprise, but seeing a cat in our yard was a surprise. In town was a surprise. And so he quietly just backed up and called the police and said there's a cougar in our tree. And so they did send a patrol out, and then they sent more patrols out. And so they came and they went looking and they saw her. But I think we had about 15 or 20 police cars here. I think they were just afraid she was going to jump out of the tree, and there's a lot of backyards with fences that she could get over faster than the police could. So I think they were afraid that she would get loose. Plus, we're about three blocks from an elementary school that she could have been running through. I mean, it was a few hours before school started by the time they were able to tranquilize her and take her out to the mountains. So I think they wanted her out of the neighborhood. So while our dog Harley kept the cougar treed, the East Vancouver precinct called Fish and Game. And it took them about 3 hours to get out here. And while we waited for Fish and Game, Harley kept the cougar treed the whole time, jumping up and down, just keeping her up there. And the police had said if Harley hadn't kept her up there and she would have gotten down, they would have had to take her to actually kill her. And so they wanted to have the dog keep her treed until Fish and Game can get here, so they could tranquilize her and take her out in the mountains. They had police sharpshooters in our kitchen window and police sharpshooters in our family room window, making sure that she didn't leave. Harley's about a 6-year-old pit bull mix. We got him at the pound on our son's 4th birthday. He was abandoned. Somebody had found him and had taken him to the pound, but he was too little to stay at the pound, so somebody, one of the people that work at the pound, fostered him until he was old enough. So we figure he's about 6 years old now, and we've had him since he was a puppy. He's a goofball. He's afraid to go across the grate when the heat's going, but he'll tree a cougar. Our one neighbor across the street, she didn't know what was going on, and her son, when they had the news crews the next morning, her son had recognized our house because we know her children, and they're like, "Mom, something's going on at your house. What's going on?" And she looks out the window and she calls, she's like, "What's going on?" And she knew nothing what had gone on. You know, there was police all over the neighborhood. And when Fish and Game finally came, they were able to tranquilize her. It took 4 tranquilizers to sedate her, but at the 3rd one, she jumped up and jumped into the neighbor's yard. And so Fish and Game were able to go and take her and remove her from the premises and take her up into the woods, and they were able to let her go once she came out of the tranquilizer. So Harley saved the day.